Without a doubt, the Ford Everest is one of the most macho looking, the most aggressive and boxy looking mid-sized SUV in the market today. And what we have right now is the Mac Daddy. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph. And it's been a long time coming, but like everything else in life, it's been really worth the wait. I've been really raving to review this one right here. It's the Ford Everest Titanium 4x4. Now, before we begin our review, I see a lot of you guys are watching our reviews here on the channel, and I really appreciate if you guys would subscribe. Now, there's been a current trend in crossover SUVs, mid-sized SUVs, and even some sedans, where companies are actually applying a boxy, angry look to their cars. This one right here is hecka boxy. I mean, look at this. You got straight lines all over the hood. You got this huge power bulge in the middle right here. You got this huge Ford logo, Ford badge in front, and of course a camera that works with this 360-degree camera system. The previous Ford Everest 4x2 Titanium that we reviewed actually did not have a surround view camera, but this one definitely has it. You got this huge honeycomb grille up front, split right there in the middle with this chrome trim, C-shaped headlamps right here. And the difference between this and the 4x2 Titanium variant is that you've got matrix headlamps. Matrix headlamps actually are some sort of adaptive headlamps which avoids trying to blind the other driver coming right at you, and they can actually swivel around as well. So you got LED fog lamps there, right there as well, and yes, another camera up top that works with its advanced driver assist systems, which the 4x2 variant does not have. Another thing that this does have is right here on the side. I'm going to show that to you right now. Because for me, the biggest difference that you'll find with the 4x4 and the 4x2 variant, because you won't be seeing anything on the outside except for this one right here. You got a bi-turbo engine under the hood. You got 20-inch alloy wheels with 255 R20 tires. These are some really chunky boys right here. And yes, you definitely know that you're bringing an SUV if you got these huge wheels, these huge tires. You got a nice solid step board right here, but even with that step board, you still have 227 millimeters of ground clearance. Apart from having 227 millimeters of ground clearance, you've got 800 millimeters of wading depth. That's right around here. So make sure you estimate the floods just a little bit, but right around here, you should be safe. You got these chrome side mirrors, which you know me, guys, I'm not really into chrome, but it's got it. It's got chrome side mirrors here and a camera. You got this chrome strip on the side windows there, which I don't really like, but again, at least you got these straight lines on the side belying its macho, aggressive SUV appeal. Heading over to the back, you can give everyone you leave behind on the expressway a really good show. Really good, because you've got this Everest badge right here in the back that does not light up. I know you guys are looking at a lot of Facebook posts where these badges light up, but Ford suggests that you don't give it this LED lamps. Plus, you got a blacked out implementation right here, smoke tail lamps. You got these nice looking designs for the tail lamps, as well as a semi C-shaped clamp there that actually mimics the front end, which yeah, it really gives out a nice design. You got a flat overall rear windshield and a nice Easter egg right here. It's got a city skyline silhouette as well as a mountain silhouette. So this really means that you can take this out to the city, all to the mountains. But my favorite feature, of course, as with all SUVs, top of the line SUVs, is this power tailgate. You got a huge opening to put all your stuff in, and even if you have the third row seats up, you can still put a few briefcases right here in the back. Pretty large suitcases as well, if I might add. And if you need even more space, you can fold these third row seats down. How can you fold these third row seats down? This is a top of the line Everest, so you've got power rear folding seats. You got this on the 4x2 variant as well, but it's nice to see that some companies are trying to implement and making these things a lot easier for us consumers. My only problem with this though is a high loading floor. So if you got some heavy stuff with you, you're gonna have to lift it up a little bit more before you can put it right there. So no problems, just do a little curls, do a little weights, you should be fine. So overall, the exterior of the Ford Everest 4x4 Titanium is certainly badass. I love this color, by the way. They call this Equinox Bronze. I don't see it as bronze though. But anyway, what do you think? Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. This, they say, is bronze, but let's take a look at the inside and see what's what and see if there are any other differences between this and the 4x2 variant. All right, so we're inside the Ford Everest Titanium 4x4. And right off the bat, I really don't notice any huge differences between this and the 4x2 variant, which means it's just great. Probably the biggest difference though is the gauge cluster. You've got a full electronic display right here for your gauge cluster, and you ain't got none of those fake display looks right there. This is definitely all digital, all LCD display, which I really like and I really appreciate because it really makes it a lot more future-proof than a lot of the SUVs out there. You got also a huge 12-inch touchscreen infotainment system with both wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but thankfully it also has the wired type because current iterations of wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto might be a little iffy at times, a little buggy, so you still have the wired type. You got a wireless phone charger right here. You got two USB ports, a USB-A and USB-C. You got a drive mode selector here, which of course obviously is not available in the 4x2 Everest. This also has a rear locking differential, but the thing about that is there ain't no buttons here for you to select that. You have to go through the menu settings here just to head on over to that particular setting, which can be a bummer. You got a fully adjustable steering wheel, adjustable for both reach and brake, and you got full controls, full buttons on the steering wheel as well. It also has power adjustable seats for both the driver and the front passenger. So you got forward and back, up and down, and you've got, you know, this tilting thing here, as well as lumbar support. I really find this interesting here on the AC vents. It has a nice honeycomb look to it, which matches the exterior front grille as well. You got some manual controls and manual dials for your volume and your AC, which I appreciate. Still has the split type glove box here, one on top, one at the bottom. You can hide your different stuff there. You got 6 speakers all around, and you've got cup holders as well on the aircon vent, so you can keep your cool drinks cold and your hot drinks cool as well. It's pretty straightforward. There's nothing really out of place here. You have your nice grab handles to easily get into the Everest. You do need this because you have a high ground clearance, 227 millimeters. One thing I do appreciate of all these features here is this one. You've got a single USB port right behind the rear view mirror, which enables you to install a dash cam. You can put the dash cam right there. No need to snake through the different upholsteries to get to or tap a power source. Just plug it right there and you've got your dash cam. I'm really interested to see what the 4x4 Everest offers to rear passengers, so let's go. So right here in the back, I still have, well, I do appreciate that you do have a lot of leg room here, as well as some space for your feet. You got 2 map pockets to work with, but if you want to sit upright this way, and if you're wearing this Zigwheels Philippines cap, your head does hit the ceiling just a little bit. I am 5'10" and a half, and I've got a really long torso. I've seen some videos of my friends reviewing this as well. They're 5'11", but I guess it's because of my longer torso. That's why it's I have a weird body type, so no worries. But if you do recline just a little bit like this, put up the headrest, you should be fine. I really like this. Plus, one thing I do like about the seats here, they're reclinable. You can recline just a little bit and then put down the center armrest with some 2 cup holders over there. And you do have a control dial here for the AC, as well as 2 USB ports, one USB-A and one USB-C. Plus my favorite feature, of course, is a 230 volt, 400 watt maximum power outlet. So if you need to charge all your devices in the back. My only gripe with this is this huge center tunnel in the middle. But again, this is a 4x4 variant, so it does have that excuse. But you also have these seats, which are really synthetic and probably easy to clean, but they're not the most premium out there. But the thing about the Ford Everest, it can definitely get away with it because it is rugged as well as luxurious, but the leather doesn't scream that at all. I like the sunroof. It's a panoramic type. A lot of top-of-the-line SUVs do have that. You got some map lights right here as well, pretty bright LED. You can definitely do some reading in the back. But don't do that, you might ruin your eyes. Okay, this is the ultimate test here. Let's take a look at the 3rd row seats and see how I fit. let's go ahead and check that out. If you got a big family, I gotta ask you, where's your self-control, guys? But anyway, if you do have 4 or 5 kids, well, a 7-seater is mandatory these days. So let's take a look at the 3rd row seats here. So we gotta slide this forward. Getting in is, fairly easy. Let's just close this door here. Then slide this back. Uh-oh. All right. As you can see, with my 5'10.5" frame and my chunky body, I want to say that this is fine, but I'm gonna feel like I'm the least loved kid in the family. I'm gonna be the black sheep because what did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve having to sit right here in the back with my siblings all comfortable in front? So what you do is you could probably do a compromise and ask the 2nd row passenger to slide the seat as far forward and as comfortable as you can. But as you can see, I still have barely some space, but at least there's a compromise. Well, I do have a 12-volt socket right there, as well as some 2 cup holders, but when it comes to space, this is a no-go for me. I'm gonna probably have headaches when I get down out of this car after a long drive, but for kids, probably, this is gonna be just fine. But if it's gonna be a tall kid, no, this is a no-go. Let's go back to the passenger seat and give the Ford Everest 4x4 a test drive, and I'll tell you exactly what are a few things that we have different over this with every other SUV in the market, particularly the 4x2. All right, so we're now behind the wheel of the 2024 Ford Everest Titanium 4x4. So under the hood, you've got a 2-liter bi-turbocharged diesel engine that makes 210 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. Now, if you think those power figures might be a little, the gap might be a little too wide, consider this: you do have a lot more weight to deal with when you're driving the 4x4 variant as opposed to the 4x2. So it's just going to be even Steven when it comes to real world driving conditions. You got this electronic shifter right here. This is a 10-speed automatic transmission as compared to the 6-speed found in the other variants. It's now able to allocate that power evenly across the rev range. So instead of getting this huge thrust, this huge boost of power, it now regulates that power right across, making the power a lot more linear than before. So even though you know that you have that much power in the hood, it reels it down to a more usable experience, giving you a smoother drive and more economical drive as well. Now the steering now has a lot more, adds a lot more road feel. The electronic power steering has been tuned in a way to give you more road feel. It actually feels like you're driving on the road. I know that sounds odd to hear, but a lot of the cars these days have really strong power steering settings that to the point where you can actually don't feel the road anymore. This time though, it feels like a more engaging drive. It somehow gives you this very linear, almost un-diesel-like characteristic to the acceleration. Most diesels, it's either going to putter forward and struggle with the acceleration, or be like an on-off button where you just step on the pedal and just thrust forward, and then once it gets high up the rev range, it loses power. This time though, I can actually feel the power being distributed evenly across the rev range, giving a smoother drive, and I appreciate that, especially when you're driving or when you're considering purchasing a Ford Everest at this price point. You want a little bit more refinement in your power, if you may. When it comes to noise, vibration, and harshness, being a diesel SUV, you can definitely still hear a lot of the diesel clatter from the hood permeating through the engine, especially when you're on idle. You won't really feel a lot of that, especially when you're on the highway, but you can still hear that diesel clatter. Now when it comes to fuel economy, around the city I get around 7 to 8 kilometers per liter in the city, and on the highway around 14 to 15 kilometers per liter. But again, you have to consider a lot of things. You're driving a fully loaded 4x4 mid-sized SUV with all the trimmings and all the fixings on it, plus you got more power. I'd say that the fuel economy figures in the Ford Everest 4x4 Titanium is just up to par, and you just have to temper your right foot there. So the safety features of the Ford Everest It's pretty comprehensive across the line. You get multiple airbags, you get 360-degree cameras, you got ABS with electronic brake force distribution, you got front and rear parking sensors. But with the Ford Everest 4x4 titanium, you do get a lot more extras. You have adaptive cruise control, you get automatic high beams, you get autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian detection, pre-collision assist, dynamic brake support, distance alert, forward collision warning, post-impact braking, lane departure warning with lane keep assist, driver alert system, blind spot warning with rear cross traffic alert. You also have reverse brake assist and active park 2.0. That's the automatic parking that I was talking about. What you do is that you just go to the parking lot, activate active parking, and as you drive forward, it instantly searches for an open parking spot. Once it does detect an open parking spot, select that parking spot on the screen, and then the system automatically activates itself. Pricing for the Ford Everest 4x4 titanium starts at 2,525,000 pesos. So for that much amount of coin, you definitely have a few things to consider and think about. Now, the next in line to the Ford Everest 4x4 titanium is the Ford Everest Wildtrak. The Ford Everest Wildtrak starts at 2,369,000 pesos, which is significantly lower in price compared to this model, but what it severely lacks is a 4x4 feature, and you don't get the advanced driver assist systems. You go even lower than that, you have the Ford Titanium 4x2, which you got everything that you got inside here, except of course the advanced driver assist systems and the 4x4 variant. But everything will definitely feel the same. That's almost more than 300,000 pesos worth of savings. Now, my personal favorite variant of the Ford Everest, the Ford Everest Sport, is even lower so, which is actually at 2,109,000 pesos, which is crazy. But especially when you think about how much savings you're thinking about getting this over that. You really have to think about what purchase you're gonna get. Don't waste your money just because you want to buy the top of the line variant here. Do you really need 4x4? Do you really need all the advanced driver assist systems when we actually have all the basics ready for you? Those are the different factors that you have to consider when you're purchasing a mid-sized diesel SUV. Ford really hit it on the nail with this particular model, because apart from being the top dog in this particular segment, it then has a lot more options for you to choose from, so it's a win-win situation. So that's my review of the 2024 Ford Everest 4x4 Titanium. For me, this is the new benchmark when it comes to mid-size crossover SUVs. In fact, I've been getting a lot of questions these days trying to compare other pickup truck based SUVs to this one, and yes, that certainly proves to me that a lot of people think this is on top of the heap. But I know you guys have a lot of opinions about this, so what do you think? Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. But while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. I will see you guys next time.